Now that we have a little bit of a foundation of what nodes are, let's take a look at kind of some specific nodes in the color page. So the most basic kind of node in Resolve is a serial node. And again, those are called serial nodes because they're meant to be linked up in a series. So again, we might have a group of corrections on this first node, maybe contrast and saturation. And then we can add a serial node that maybe brightens things up a little bit. And we can add another serial node after that that boosts the saturation even more. And the nice thing is that we can just click on the number of this node to turn each node on or off whenever we want. So we can see what this image looks like without that contrast adjustment at the beginning. We can see what it looks like without that extra saturation. We can see what it looks like without that kind of exposure adjustment. And those all happen in a series, and the order is very important. But if you right-click on these nodes and go to Add Node, you'll notice there are a couple other different kinds of nodes. You can add a serial. You can add a serial before, which is just literally putting a serial node before the node you're right-clicking on. And then we have parallel nodes, layer nodes, and outside nodes. Serial nodes all go in a series, node 1, and then node 2, and then node 3. Parallel nodes are a little bit different. We have node 1, and then if we have a couple parallel nodes, these actually are processed at the same time, and they're kind of mixed together. So this first node gets whatever image node 1 produces, and so does node 3. Node 3 does a group of adjustments, node 2 does a group of adjustments, and then those adjustments are mixed together so that they're both pretty much at half strength. And then the resulting image is put out to the viewer. So what that might look like is if we have a node here that has a big pink push, and we make a parallel node, and in this one, we have a big green push, what it's eventually going to do is neutralize the image because we're adding a bunch of pink and we're taking away a bunch of pink all at the same time, which gives us a result of not much going on. And it mixes these groups of corrections together. So parallel nodes kind of mix their corrections together. The reason you might use a parallel node is because they just really play nice together. You can make big soft corrections or even really harsh corrections, and it blends with everything else you're doing in a really nice, pleasing way. This is something that we'll see a little bit more of later. Resolve also has layer nodes. And on the node graph, it sort of looks similar to a parallel node. And in some ways it is, because node 2 gets the image from node 1, node 3 gets the image from node 1. But instead of these being mixed together, the image that node 3 produces is used as a layer on top of node 2. So if I were to do the same thing here, but with layer nodes, I can actually just right click on this little mixer node and switch these to layer nodes, morph into layer mixer node. What we'll end up with is a green image. The reason for that is because if we look at our chart, what we're doing is we're taking our corrected image and we're making it pink. And then we're taking that same corrected image and we're making it green. And we're putting this green image over the pink image, and we're not mixing them together at all. All we're looking at is this second layer. This makes even more sense if you add a mask, which we're going to learn about in a little bit. But for now, I can click on this window here and click on a circle. And now we're just seeing the top layer inside of this circle, and the bottom layer shows through anywhere where the top layer isn't. Let's go ahead and get rid of these two nodes here, and we'll just stay with our green circle. And now if we right click on this one and say add node, add outside, what happens is we get another serial node, but look at this little blue attachment. This is the mask input of the node. And so what we're doing is taking this circle mask from this node and we're using it in this second node so that anything that we do in this second node only affects things that aren't affected by this first node. This is great for things if you want to darken one part of the image and then brighten another part. We can move this shape around and select what part we want to darken and brighten everything else. If we were to mouse over this little blue line and click on that, then it would break that mask input and the only thing affected by the circle would be this first node. So this is a bit of a drink from a fire hydrant, but using nodes is a really essential tool when it comes to color grading.